All right, hey everybody. My name is Jay.
And I'm Meka.
This is our channel, and we are about to do the review for Raising Kanan, Power Book 4, Episode 4, The Way We Were. This is actually a really good episode, better than the previous ones to me. So we're gonna go through it step by step to kind of, say what went on in the episode and see where it can lead. I think actually a lot happened in this episode. So
Yeah.
um, the episode started out with kind of a little bit of a recap, showing certain things like Juke and Crystal, their interaction, where Crystal had her jumped whilst they was in the Butter group. Showed a little bit about Rock and Quan and things like that. Just a little bit of a short recap, and it actually showed the mob boss Sal from a few seasons ago, who ended up getting killed by Marvin, I believe it was.
Hey, Marvin just be
Yeah.
Marvin just be cutting
Marvin
up,
does what
killing
he does.
people. I guess he's hurt the muscle, right? I guess
Yeah.
you could say.
Well,
Yeah.
actually,
Lou, I don't even.
Lou actually.
You think-
Marvin's the muscle, and Lou is like, or he was like the, I guess you could say like the silent assassin, at least from season 1. But then he got messed up in the head, and he didn't really do anything after that.
Right.
So, but then the episode starts out. It shows QC. If you remember at the end of the last episode, Unique burst into Kanan's old place and whatnot. So it shows. OC, that's his name, OC, bringing Kanan the money to the new apartment. And then shortly after that, Juke shows up. And Kanan leaves Juke and Crystal to kind of figure out their issues from previous.
Right.
And,
I don't know. I just feel like the whole jumping thing, like,
Nah. I mean,
that was pretty. But I don't know if I'd be able to forgive that.
no,
Like
you
that.
can forgive it, but I mean, Crystal should have to run it with Juke real quick.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, she
that
run it
is
with
true.
her. It clear all that up, you know? That's how I would do it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they had a little conversation, whatever, pretty much saying like, hey, we'll see if we can, find a middle ground and whatnot. Then it showed Unique, who now he wants to make himself a little bit more known, talking to her early telling him, hey man, stay in the background and whatnot. But at this point is where the episode picked up, and I like it because it picked up early because Marvin shows up talking to Early for the help he gave him. Marvin introduces Early to Servino to run numbers for him.
And Unique didn't know about this,
And
right?
Unique doesn't know about it. So Unique goes off to do some business, whatever. So Marvin's doing that, still work with Servino. Rock does not know that Marvin is doing all of this. And he brings Early into it for some extra money. And then I believe that's when Unique actually goes and gets in contact with one of the older people that was working with him and Rock and whatnot. He actually took over. Rock had Unique take over his territory and his product and whatnot. So, as you know, Unique is trying to tear down Rock's business overall. So he gets this guy to go and help him pretty much shoot up one of the stash spots in one of the production areas for Rock.
Right.
Distribution spots, whatnot. So they go do that, shoot up a bunch of people in there, and in the process, the guy that was helping them get shot and killed. Right. So that happens, which then kind of spirals because now Unique last episode he hit the Chinese food restaurant, killed those people, killed a bunch of people here. So it's making it look like all of the businesses connected to Rock are being hit and being taken down and whatnot, which is causing her big, big issues.
Is that issue with Pop and Snap too, or what's the lady's
Pops
name?
and Snap and Pops?
Yeah.
Not yet.
That's
yet.
not an issue with them. That's happening.
They don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
Also forgot. So the episode began with Marvin kidnapping a guy, who was part of a distribution, and so pretty much they intimidated him to get information to find out where he was getting his product from, because as this season Rock wants to be a new distributor in her area, so she needs to get a direct line to the Connect. So sent Marvin torture this guy to get the information so she could reach out to this Connect to try and get a direct line of product. So that's pretty much what was going on with Marvin in the beginning. go from there real quick. Lou and B Rilla, they're still, making music and whatnot. They introduced a new character. She's like a marketing type person.
I don't like her.
Well, I mean, she comes off as a woman.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like her acting or something. I don't know what it is about her, but I don't really care for her too much.
You could tell she's probably gonna end up being Lou's love interest now.
You think so?
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
hoping that wasn't gonna happen.
They're definitely gonna do that more than likely. But she comes in talking to Lou. Lou don't like it. They're being forced to work together. Like that was just kind of nothing really big was going on with Lou and B Real, really, right. To be honest. That was just the whole thing, the introduction of this new character. So that storyline was kind of short. Who else? Juke. She had a whole thing happen, which, we'll get into that in a second. But she goes to her night spot that she goes for, people with her same type of lifestyle and whatnot. She gets hit on. She's kind of getting used to being in that realm and comfortable, with her lifestyle.
Just being who she is.
Yeah, with just being who she is. She's getting comfortable with it, which, is a good thing. But in the midst of it, the person that she met when she first went to that club, her husband shows up, throws Juke to the ground, and drags the old girl off, throws her in the car, and speeds off with her.
Right.
Which, to me, Juke, you just got pushed on the ground. She's sitting up there all day. It's like you didn't even hit the ground that hard. She got marks.
I was thinking that a little bit too, like the makeup that went with what actually happened, and then like he just pushed her. He didn't hit her. He did push her to the ground. She fell. I'm like, you just left boot camp. I know that you're not this shaken behind this man pushing you over like that. I just thought that was a little bit weird. I feel like they could have wrote that a little bit better. And then, the makeup after, I'm like, how did that happen? Like, how did you have this up here and this up here? Like, you for real had gotten a brawl or something. It was just weird.
Yeah, and honestly, for that to happen so after that happened, she goes home, she got ice on it, Marvin comes home, he sees it, and he's like, somebody put your hands on you, and their hands on you, and she kind of
just makes a face.
But it's like, you could tell, hey, Dad, this dude was there, he kind of pushed her. But I think she had to explain it to him because he knew he was running up on somebody's husband. But for what happens at the end of this episode,
right. But I mean, rightfully so, regardless of whether he just pushed her down or not, that is his daughter. So I get why he went and, did what he ended up doing, which was going over to the house, right? Like, I understand that because your daughter then showed up and she looks like she's hurt.
But he went over there because of the girl. If you notice when he went in there, because I'm guessing how Juke told him, because he went over there talking about touching the lady.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too. He didn't even say nothing about his own kid, but maybe he was just trying to.
I guess. Well, I guess trying to
keep that from the guy from knowing.
Yeah, I just caught him going to a convenience store and like fired on him and said something, took off, but he did it the way that he did it. So
he did.
But we'll get back in that at the end of what happens there. Rock, she gets the information from the Connect that Marvin interrogated. Marvin and her go and talk to him. She makes, tries to make her proposition, and he's like, all right, come back the next day by yourself, pretty much. She goes back to him. He takes her to the place of the actual Connect. Obviously he was like a middleman, for protection and whatnot. And pretty much this guy kind of gives her the short end of the stick, doesn't give her any answers of if she's going to be able to get the product and whatnot. And pretty much he said all his product is accounted for. Mm-hmm. So that's where that kind of lends to. Staying on Rock, two more things with her. The FBI came about the attorney Andre being killed. They found his body. They tell her, hey, we found him and whatnot. Ask her if she knew anything about it. She doesn't, so they just visit her and they go on about their business. And lastly, with Rock, she gets news about what happened at the distribution factory or whatnot. Mm-hmm. She finds out who the guy is that was killed at the scene. She still doesn't know that Unique is running around doing things, and she has Marvin go and try and find out who was the other guy there because they told her, hey, there was two people here. And she said, hey, this guy was like an underling. He doesn't have the brains to even do these type of things, so he must be with somebody that has a certain, certain information and whatnot. So that was with Rock. So covering all that, now Kanan, which is kind of Kanan's doing too much. You know, saying Kanan is doing a little bit too much. He first off, he goes to see Snaps and Pop, and you know, pretty much he's starting to try and separate himself from Rock, trying to build his own name and whatnot. And actually, this part wasn't his doing because I believe Snaps says, "Hey, Quan, the person who Rock is into it with, is hearing about you and wants to get to meet you and whatnot and everything." So Kanan goes ahead and goes to meet him,
Right.
you know, and kind of make his introduction with him and say what he says. And it looks like him and Quan are about to work together. Directly after that, he goes to...
What's that man's name? Trevino? What's the guy's name?
Servino.
That's who you're saying that he's about to go to? Yeah.
You know, directly after that, he goes to try to make an introduction to Servino, but Servino, at least to me so far, he's been kind of a real one. He's like, "Hey, man, you know, your mom did this. She put up, you know, $500,000 for you to make sure you're safe. I wouldn't even do that for my kids." Pretty much like, "Man, go on about your business. I'm not finna be a part of this," you know what I mean, in the midst of you and Rock. Like, he had enough foresight to say, "Hey, you're doing this behind your mom's back." And he's already dealing with Marvin and all that stuff. So I like that he kind of stayed out because the waters are finna get murky because you got Kanan with Snaps and Pop separated. So now he's aligning with Quan.
Right.
That's going to be an issue going down the line. And he just attempted this with Sorvino. So now Kanan is getting ready to kind of get into the midst of this stuff.
And I think
clearly.
he's really going to end up crossing Rock. Like, for real.
Yeah, something's
especially because, you know, the whole scene with Servino, what he said about that, and then Snap and Pop, how they were like, "You know what I'm saying, right? You separate from your mom," type of thing.
Yeah.
So I think he's gonna end up crossing her, and I think eventually that's gonna be a real.
Yeah, I have a theory. I'm not gonna quite yet. I'll probably do it closer if it starts to kind of reveal itself that way. But I think something big is gonna happen with that. There was something else with Kanan. The Sorvino thing. And then they had a conversation about Famous, him and Lou. And I'm starting to get the feeling, because if you remember when the season started, there was like a 3-month gap where they were showing certain things that happened. And Kanan's whole demeanor when it comes to Famous is very...
It's nothing.
It's not, it's not like a friend. It's almost like he's like, push. I think Kanan may have had something to do with Famous one way or another. Either he kind of helped him go somewhere and he's not telling nobody. Like, he kind of, you're like, "Hey, man, you know, don't talk to the police. You go and do this and that, and I'll front the money for it or whatever." Or Kanan might have had him off. I don't necessarily think he had him off. I'm leaning towards he helped him, but I think Kanan is going to be the thing that eventually gets Famous up out of here one way or another.
But also, isn't Kanan the only one that has reportedly like talked to the mom and that's it? Because remember that he was sitting down with Juke at the restaurant, and nobody really knew any information but him.
Yeah,
right?
But Lou talked to his sister though, because Lou was dating the sister when she came back.
But she hasn't seen.
She said she hadn't seen him.
Yeah.
So, and the mom said so. People have had contact with his family, just not him directly. But somebody knows where the hell he's at.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole thing. Somebody clearly knows where he's at. So that was that. Rock and her mom had an interaction about her mother dying and how the father committed suicide, and, you know, pretty much like a Cry Me a River moment between the two of them, whatever. Just what it was. Like, I don't really care.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's like we don't need to know why Rock is so tough and all this. We're past that.
Oh yeah, I guess that is what they were trying to do. I feel like they should have did that in the first season or something.
They're trying to explain why they all effed up. You know what? There's tons of people that are effed up with their families, and it happens. Whatever.
Yeah.
At this point, I want to hear about y'all selling drugs and all this other shit. I don't want to hear about that stuff. But I guess it's character building at the same time, so you can't cry about it too much.
Right.
So after that, though, Unique, actually, the last time we see Unique is he actually goes to Sal Batelli, I believe his name was Sal Batelli, his widow. And it sounds like he tells her who killed her husband, is Marvin, or part of that whole entourage. And he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna get them back for us. They ruined me. They ruined you. And I think her son died too in the midst of all that shooting that happened." She gives him a name and either a number or a place to go meet this person. They don't say who it is. It says, hey, they'll get you right. So it sounds like Unique is getting ready to get in contact with somebody who is going to be problematic and, for the Thomases and whatnot. Right. So that's the last time we see him. So he's getting ready to make a move on Rock, clearly. And that's what he's been doing anyways. But now he's at the point where he's like, yo, I need to pop out, show myself. And I feel like early working with Sorvino, I feel like he's going to find out that information and he's going to use it early to get info or do something to mess up, because Sorvino said, Marvin, hey, you vouch for him. So if anything happens, it's on you. So Early's in there. Early is connected to Unique. If he gets to Early, that'll turn around to be bad on Marvin, which will force Marvin to kind of have to deal with Rock not knowing that he was messing with Sorvino. So
right.
And then lastly, Juke and Marvin go to the apartment of the wife and husband where Juke got pushed down and got those traumatic scars on her face for some reason. Juke asked Marvin to leave the gun in the car, which I still would have took it because right. Marvin knows how to handle situations. I don't know why he listened to her in the first place, truthfully, but he's like, all right, I can handle it. He goes up there, guy opens the door, he fires on him, they get to tussling and whatnot, and
that man broke out a machete or some big ass knife.
Got a big Rambo knife.
That was not a regular kitchen knife that he.
Well, the biggest thing was, even though he had the knife, he wasn't a small guy. He was physically bigger than Marvin. Marvin knows how to handle himself. But once he cut him with that knife and he was able to kind of, once he was able to get that weight on him, that's where I was like, damn, because he is physically bigger than Marvin.
And he got him, twice? Like once in the arm and then he cut him again?
He was sticking his hand in the wound. Oh. Which was hurt. And then when he got up to the ground, putting all his weight on him, and the thing was, Marvin's wound was on his arm, so that was going to mess with his leverage.
Right.
And then we see Juke catch her first body. Shoots dude, it looked like in the head. Dropped him, and then her and Marvin get in the car. Juke's like, Marvin's trying to check on her. She's like, go. And whilst they're driving, they show Juke sitting there. And then she gets this kind of grin on her face. She like the rush of it, which is now they're starting to show Juke turn into the jukebox that we've seen in the OG Power. So, overall, I mean, that's everything that happened in the episode. And I thought that was, like I said, to me, this has been the best episode so far.
Yeah.
So it's going to kind of lend to these things kind of maybe spiraling out a little bit.
Picking up a little bit more the next few episodes because, man.
Yeah, they're going to have to. I was
getting worried until last night. Yeah, that was a pretty good episode.
Yeah, I think it was a good episode. I don't necessarily have any, with so much stuff going on, to even try to have some predictions. It's a little bit early, but obviously Unique is getting ready to be extremely problematic going forward. And I think Quan is going to be, Rock's going to have a lot on her hand, and this is why, the only prediction I'll say is I'm pretty sure one of them is dying.
One of the
one of the Thomases. Yeah, one of them. That's because there's too much stuff going on.
I was saying that the last time. I was like, all this like build up that they're doing, like there's gonna be a major death this season for sure.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Marvin.
And we know it ain't Kanan, so
it's not Kanan.
We know it's not Juke.
So it's gonna be one of the elder Thomases. So we'll see. But hey, that is the review of this episode of Raising Kanan. So. Like I said, I don't have any predictions. I just thought it was a really, really good episode and one of the better ones of the season so far. So, cool. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. You got anything?
I don't have anything, but I will say don't forget to comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date on all of our upcoming videos. Again, we're very responsive in the comments, so we would love to hear, what y'all think about this episode. Maybe even if y'all have predictions yourself. And yeah, we'll see y'all next time.
See you in a week.